Okay, so similar figures. All right, so recall similar triangles when we found slope of a line by creating right triangles. So some of the things that make something similar is they have to, one, be the same shape, and the angle measures have to be the same. So if this is a 90-degree angle here, this has to also be a 90-degree angle. Right, that's what makes them similar. Things that make them different is obvious to the size. So size is different, but the angle measures are going to be the same, and the shape is the same. All right, so it says the corresponding angles of similar figures are the same. So what that means is we have angle A, which they have a blue arrow going to angle A, is the same as angle D. So if you notice, there's a single arc here on the A, and there's a single arc here on D. That means the measurements are the same. So angle B has two arcs, and angle E, which is going to the maroon arrow, these two also have two arcs. And then you have angle C, which is going to angle F. So angle C has three arcs, and angle F has three arcs. That again means that those are congruent, so they're the same size. It says the corresponding angle sides of similar figures are proportional. So what that means is if we have, for example, AB, which is the measure from angle 1 to angle 2, that is the same as angle 1 to angle 2 on the larger triangle, which is the measure of angle D. We also have an example of BC, which is going from angle 2 to 3 is the same as going from 2 to 3 on angle F. So that's set up proportionately. And then if we have angle AC, which is 1 to 3, that is the same position as 1, 3 on angle DF. So those ratios are the same. So they compare equally if they are simplified. So if they're simplified, think of like when we're learning about right triangles. So if we have QR, so I'm going to look for QR, which is over here from angle 1 and 2. That is to LM, which is also 1 to 2. That's proportional to the side length of 9, proportional to the side length of 12. So everything is set up evenly. If I compare RS being the angle 1 or 2 to 3, that's the same as 2 to 3 on MN right here. The measure of 6 is the same as measure of 8. And then lastly, if I had, for example, QS right here and LN, those are proportional. That means 3 over 4 have to be proportional. And if you notice, these are all proportional because they all would simplify to 3/4. Like when we did similar right triangles, they all had the same slope because no matter which right triangle you picked, they would all simplify to the same ratio. It says two figures that have the same shape are said to be similar. When two figures are similar, the ratios of the lengths of their corresponding sides are equal. To determine if triangles below are similar, compare their corresponding sides. Similar figures are always the same shape, but not the same size. They have equal angles, but not equal side lengths. So that's just saying in definition form what we just went over. So it says which must be true about these similar figures. So if you recall in class, what I did is I needed to have my figures look the same. So as you can see, they're not set up exactly the same currently. So find the easiest side length to compare to the other figure 2 side length. So most of my students said the shortest one was the easiest to find on both of the shapes. So that means those two are the same proportion. So then I told you can use colors or you can use design. So because I'm doing it on the video, I'm just going to use colors. So if I went towards angle 2, that's going to be green. So I'm going to do towards angle 2 on this figure 2. That'll also have to be green. And then I'm going to continue up. So I'm just marking all of my side lengths so that I know which side lengths are proportional to which. Just keeps it easier for me so that I know when I start looking at the ratios, I'll know which ones are right and wrong. Okay, so now I know which ones are the same. So the colors match up so that it makes it easier for me. So I'm going to look at RS. So RS is blue. And then I'm going to look at AB. Actually, I guess I could use colors, so maybe I should do that. Okay, so RS is blue. So I'm going to look to see, is AB blue? AB is not blue, it's pink. So that's not the right answer. TU, I'm going to look for TU. That is green. Oh, sorry, I guess that's not very good green. TU is green. So I'm looking for AB. Is that green? No. AF is green. So that's not true. Okay, let's try the next one. ST. Oh, I forgot to look what color it was. ST. So ST on figure 1 is light blue. So I'm going to look on figure 2. Is EF light blue? Why, yes, it is. So now I'm looking that I went from figure 1, so we're going to call that the bigger figure, to the smaller figure. So I'm going to do the smaller figure. And then I'm going to look at WR and see what color WR is. So WR is orange. And I'm going to look to see, and that was the big one, is C to D also orange? It is. And do you see how it's big to small over big to small? So these ratios are the same. As if they were numbers instead of big or small, then I know that they're set up correctly. So my answer is C. I'm going to just show you why it's not D. So I'm going to pick VW, which is yellow, and AB, which is not yellow, it's pink. So there's my reasoning for the answer of C. Okay, again, we want to label all our side lengths. So find which one you think is the easiest to identify. So most of my kids said the shortest one is the easiest to identify. So I'm going to go with that. And then the one below it at an angle. We'll do greenish. And then blue. And then I'll do a pink color for the long one. Okay, so now I know which ones are proportional. So now I'm going to look at my options to see which ones are proportional. So A is pink. So A is pink. So B, I'm going to see, is B pink? No, B is not pink. So I know the answer is not A. I'm going to look at 3.2. So 3.2 is yellow. So is 2 yellow? Well, it is. So now I need to label that I looked at the bigger one and moved over to the smaller quadrilateral. Now I'm going to look at A, and A is pink, and 8 is pink. So I went, A was on the bigger one, and 8 is on the smaller one. So I have the same ratio from big to small on both sides. So I'm going to go through the rest just to kind of show you why those answers make sense. So let's look at this green color. So we're looking at B, which is that green color, and 6.4, which is also that green color. So do you see how this one's also set up correctly? Same color. So let's see why B is the right answer, not C. So we have B was the smaller figure, and then I went to 6.4, which was the bigger figure. Now I'm going to compare the 8 and the 5. So 8, I know this is blue. So there's 2 8s. So I have to look at the second number, which was 5. You see how there's only one 5. There, you might notice that there was 2 8s. So you weren't sure, if you weren't sure which one to use, look at the number that doesn't repeat, which happens to be 5. So 5 is blue, and that's on the smaller figure, right? So 5 is on the smaller figure, which means I have to then be referring to obviously this 8 because it has to be on the other shape. So that one is also blue. and that one's on the bigger side. Now, remember I told you, so my colors match up, but this one is SB, small over big, compared to big over small. You can't have them ratios upside down because that's like saying 3/4 is the same as 4/3. They might have the same numbers, but they're not equal to each other, right? They're upside down. So that doesn't make sense. And then I want to just go over one more. Number 2 is yellow, so we're going to go to 2. And 3.2, also both yellow. So that was from the smaller figure to the bigger figure. So you can call it smaller, bigger. You can call it figure 1, figure 2, whichever makes sense to you. And B, which is that greenish color. And A, oh, that one's pink, so that is not the right color. So that one didn't work. So that is why our answer is B. It is not only the same colors, but I have bigger over small, bigger over small. So B is my answer. They're set up the proportion correctly. All right, so we're going to do, again, our shading so that we can have it all set up correctly. So to me, the bottom of the crown was the easiest to find. Okay, then I might say I want to do the wider part of the crown. Then I might want to do the sides that connect those two. And then I want to do the other inside. And then let's do the last side. So, and if you don't have color pencils or crayons or anything, then you would use designs to help you organize the way you did this. All right, so let's go ahead and try AE. AE is that pink color, pinkish purple. So AE is pink purple. So I'm going to look at XY. Is that purple? XY is here, which is no, that's red. So that didn't work. AB, so I'm looking for AB, which is orange color. Does that match up to VW? Why, it does. So I'm looking at the larger figure, comparing it to the smaller figure. So now I need to see, is the other one set up with the same color and also bigger over small? So YZ, which is blue, that's on the smaller figure. And DE, which is also blue, but that's on the bigger figure. So we compared big to small and small to big. So those are not, the ratios are not the same. So we can't have different ratios. So it's not going to be B. And then BC, which is that light blue. And we're going to compare it to see is XY light blue. No, XY is red. So that didn't work. And then we're going to do AB, which is orange. And VW to see if that's orange, why it is. So we're going to do bigger figure to smaller figure. And then CD, so CD is that light blue. Oops, sorry, that's not CD. Okay. CD is red. So CD is red. So red, and XY, which is also red. So the colors are the same. So CD was on the bigger figure. XY was on the smaller figure. So I have my ratios are the same. My colors are the same. So the answer is D. And then one more. Then we have, let's go ahead and get our colors. So I'm going to do the boxes. Those seem to be the easiest to match up. And then I'm going to do the tallest one. And then I'm going to go along the sides. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and look at our colors. So Y, I'm looking for Y, which is, Where is my green over here? So green, and I'm going to look to see, is X green? No, X is orange, so that didn't work. 6, so do you notice how there's 2 6s? So we need to see, oh, well, which 6 are they looking for? So I'm going to instead look at the X because there's only one X. And if you notice that one X is orange. So I'm looking at this X, which means that had to be that 6, not the other 6, not this 6. Okay, so that's the same color. So I'm going to label, I went from the figure 1, which is the bigger figure on 6, to X, which is the smaller figure. And now I'm going to look at 5.25, which is red. 5.25, and 7, which is also red. So the colors are right. And we went from 5.25, which is on the smaller figure, and 7, which is on the bigger figure. Now, do you notice it's bigger over small and small over big? We can't have that, so it's not going to be that answer. And then we're going to try Y. Y is green. And 6. So Y is green. 6 is green, so there we're good. So we went from the Y, which is on the bigger figure, to the 6 on the smaller figure. And now we're going to look at the next ratio, which is 7. 7 is at the bottom here. 7, which is red, and 5.25, which is also red. So I'm going to look, is that the bigger figure first and the smaller figure second? So my ratios are also the same. So my answer is going to be C. And I can just show you why it's not D. So X is orange. Looking at 4, which is pink. So it's not that one. So that hopefully gives you guys a little bit better understanding of how to set them up and figure out which ones are proportional.